great time. But if you didn't, just to let you know that we're very proud of our ghost train. We claim it's the oldest ghost train in the world. It opened in 1930, although it wasn't this version of it. When it opened, it was called the pretzel ride. In America, pretzel rides are very common, and it's to do with the shape of the track, and the layout of the track is where the name comes from. Obviously, pretzel didn't really mean anything to anyone in the UK, but the similarity between a ghost train and a pretzel ride is that pretzel ride would go through a series of dark rooms. Okay, now in those days, rides lived or died by how many tickets you sold and how many people went through, which obviously equals money, and it wasn't doing very well. And at the time, there was a play and a film out called The Ghost Train, and this kind of took inspiration more from the film, depending on who you ask, either one of the Thompsons or one of the ride operators came up with the ideas for Ghost Train. Regardless, I say one of the Thompsons. And depending on anyway, the outcome was that they put in a load of spooky scenes to it, and it was an instant hit. And then, so we can then claim that every single other ghost train that you find from around the world originates from this, although this was not in this original form. It was actually further down that way, more towards the site of where the wild mouse was, and it got moved up here. And Joseph Emberton, who's a famous architect in Pleasure Beach's history, is well known for some of the design things like the casino building and so on. And we've still got the guest services building is named after him, but he's really instrumental in how we ended up with the ghost train that we've got today by adding that second level to it. It's actually been completely redone again since then in the 1950s, and in some ways what's good about the ghost train is that we never really finish with it. We're always tinkering with it, we're always adding new bits and pieces and changing bits around. We've recently added a new sort of jump scare scene in there last year. Halloween, there's I actually in the ghost train for the last couple of years. I'm not scary enough. And for the last 2 years, we've achieved putting live actors into the ride when the ride's running for our Halloween event, which is Dave over the back. Is instrumental in making that happen, because it's something that sounds really easy, but the reality of doing that with health and safety and getting it to work, being able to work again and again and again on a ride is actually quite complicated. So you can imagine we love our ghost train. The skull at the top was actually originates from the 1970s. That was added during that part. I suppose some of the other sort of most people would think of that, they'd probably think of the Slimer from Ghostbusters that we had in 1984, and then the bit everyone thinks of on this ride, which they can never remove, is the skeletons riding bikes. I think that's kind of the sort of most famous bit. Now, this building that the ghost train in is complicated. So a bit like the Valhalla building that you saw before, we've actually got 3 rides going on in here. So we've got the River Caves. Don't ask me about the River Caves. The River Caves, ghost train, and then Wallace and Gromit is sat right on top of the River Caves, and it's all in a shared one gigantic building that links onto Watson Road. We've got a shop in there, we've got a bar in there as well, just to make it super complicated. So you can imagine a fire alarm in a building like this is actually really complicated, because you can literally have guests throughout with these rides all going, dotted throughout, and you've got all these other people and so on to think of. So it's a complicated building. Now, Pleasure Beach benefits from, we've got a number of tunnels around the park, and we're going to go through one now. It is set up for Halloween to a point, so that's why you see lots of horrible stuff in there. We'll stop halfway through, have a look, but this is one point where you really do need to watch your head, watch where your feet are going, don't wander off and all of that kind of stuff. All right, so let's go exploring in there.
Oh, it's horrendous. It's the most terrifying thing I've done in all my life, I think.
it heads obviously in here, guys. We're gonna. This is a nice little cut through that goes behind the ride. So we've got the ghost train on that side, and then the river coast through there. There's actually with the river coast, there's certain points during the ride where it's likely that the boats will stop in the event of a stoppage if the water flow stops. Although technically it could stop anywhere, but the most likely space is at the bottom of the lift. Will pull up before before the boats are lifted out of the water. There are certain points during the ride where we can easily get to boats, and this is one of them. This also offers us good access through to the River Coast Station, which is where we're going to go in a minute. We have hidden offices down here as well. So Claire, who's just nipped off but is coming back, her office out on Park, it's not dark and dingy like this, but her office out on Park is down here as well. And we have other similar tunnels. There's a tunnel that runs right alongside Wallace and Gromit along Watson Road, the other side of the ride, and we can obviously get into that ride as well at various points, although you can walk the entire track on Wallace and Gromit, which some of you might have done if you've ever done the fan club event. We actually have a similar tunnel for starting it through like this on the Alice in Wonderland ride to get to the Grand National as well. So we benefit from a lot of these little hidden tunnels that allow people to get around the park, particularly if it's busy on the park, nice and easily. So we're going to take a walk down this way through to the River Coach Station.
Just jump in shit.
This is that weird link that I mentioned in the introduction about the flying machine. And this ride, the flying machines originated from a ride and started with the River Coast. The original version of the River Coast was that a company called the London Company, which is a bit misleading, because they're actually based in Coney Island, who had this idea, and essentially that was brought over to here. And this was in the days when certain rides were run by concessions around the park. So they had a concession running the ride here. It's a bit of an illusion when you're on the ride, because the tunnel from the Tunnel of Love is actually behind this now. And that's where the boats actually pass through in this. So you think you're in a cave or whatever, it's actually a bit of a trick. The Tunnel of Love sign, by the way, was added for filming for an episode of Coronation Street and then never got removed. But the Tunnel of Love name actually comes from original names for these rides. Some of them, there's various ones of these boxes around the world, but some of them are called the Tunnel of Love. So that's where that originated from. You can still go on versions of this ride. I think there's one like Kennywood, which is a park in Pittsburgh, which if you ever get the chance to go to is like going to Pleasure Beach, in the middle of a city in the middle of America instead of Paris. It's really bizarre, but it's a really cool place to go. There's lots of similarities with the ride coming up, but they've got an old meal star ride, which is the other name that gets used for the River Coast as well. But yeah, currently our second oldest ride, and obviously it's getting a bit of love at the moment. Okay. Watch this next ride.
Well, we really got the office was a definitely.
You thought you might be more like this than
No, it's all got desk, computer, everything here. Oh, yes. It is indeed.
marvellous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's get some of the walls as well.